The dust has finally settled on what is probably the biggest result of the season, or one of, if not the biggest of the season. Chelsea 6, Everton 0. We had highs and lows. We had highs and lows. But here are the 5 things we learned from that game. First and foremost, I mean, it really does. It goes without saying, doesn't it? It goes without saying. I think we're seeing the very beginning of the best player to play for Chelsea Football Club since Eden Hazard left for Real Madrid all those years ago now. It seems like it's a bit of a fever dream at this point, doesn't it? It almost doesn't feel like... I can't remember what it felt like to have such a talented forward. Obviously, you've got the likes of Reece James and all of that are playing a more defensive role, but when you really look at the talent that Cole Palmer brings to this Chelsea forward, the attack, the momentum, the passage play, the connection that he has with the players around him, that goal, albeit from start to finish, to start things off, that 1-0, that first goal to start everything off, it really was a team effort. It really was. However, looking back at it, you just can't not think of Eden Hazard when you think of that goal. When you see that goal, the nutmeg, the tricky feet, the ability to, and absolutely hats off to Jackson for going above and beyond to get that pass off for Hazard. But if you could, with whatever AI technology, you could put Eden Hazard on that and it would look so natural for him to be the man on in that goal. We've seen it countless times. We really have. And I don't want to directly compare him because Cole Palmer has many differences in his game against what Hazard had. Obviously, height being one of them, and obviously, he hasn't got that necessarily the low center of gravity that Hazard had, but there are many similarities. In other aspects of the game, as what came with it, 4 goals, a perfect hat-trick, including, of course, there had to be that penalty, of which we'll go into that in just a minute or two. But in terms of statistics, hey, as we all know, well, with that penalty, it makes sense that Palmer took President over Madueke and Jackson and really put in it put his foot down to say, no, listen, not only am I the penalty taker, I am going to take this penalty and I am going to go on level parring with Erling Haaland, the top goal scorer in the league, the top scorer last season. Cole Palmer is now level with Erling Haaland, and I don't think any of us, no one could have predicted 6-0, let alone predicting that yes, Cole Palmer, a player that many were a little bit unsure of as why have we bought this kid? I'm not really sure why we bought him. I was certainly excited when it was announced that we'd got him. I was quite fond of him at Man City, but I'm not going to sit here and just lie to you and say that I thought it was going to be this good. I just didn't think he was even remotely going to hit these heights, especially as quickly as he has done. And last but not least, obviously, he is the first Chelsea player now to get at least 20 goals in a Premier League season since Diego Costa did in the 16-17 season. So it really is something else. I think Tammy Abraham came closest with 17, but even still, and even with the penalties, what do you want him to do? Do you want him to miss? That's one thing. The last thing I'll say on this matter is that I just don't understand the people that sit here and say he's a penalty merchant. Yes, but he also does absolutely everything else and does it in abundance and does it absolutely perfectly. What do you want him to do? Do you want him to miss the penalties? I just don't think that is necessarily in his repertoire. I don't think that's necessarily something that Cole Palmer's going to struggle with. I've compared, obviously, he's already got a shoe-in to be one of the greats with LeBouf, Hazard, Lampard. the list goes on. Jorginho, I kind of put there, but purely because of the way that he took his penalties, and he was pretty good at the same time. But even still, Cole Palmer has all the makings of a Chelsea great if he chooses to stay at the club. And next up, I actually want to take a moment to congratulate, to thank, to praise the man himself that I have kind of given grief to all season, and by no means am I going to sit here and say that I'm not going to continue putting a microscope on him. Obviously started a new series yesterday on this channel. If you haven't checked that out, please do check out my previous video. A new series called Poch Under the Microscope, where we delve into all of his quotes. But conversely, we look at the end of this game, and I haven't got the quotes on me right now, but it was more or less to the effect of we've established what the situation is. We've dealt with it. The players know where they stand. There will be no more acting like children in this regard. It's happened once or twice, maybe 3 times. Hopefully, never again. Where there seems to be this very childish, and looking back at the footage, I am going to just kind of put these 2 points in together. This is point 2 and point 3. Pochettino, number 2, is beginning to showcase his true managerial abilities, and it is going unnoticed, especially by me. And when you really deep the fact that, listen, I just want to go through our recent results, okay, very quickly. 6-0 against Everton. Previous, this is going back, so 2-2 against Sheffield United. Many would argue that we were dominated in that game at times, and we shouldn't have been because they're obviously 20th. But a draw, it's not a loss. We beat Manchester United for the first time since 2017. We drew against Burnley, which, again, should have won that game, but it's just the little things that need work. But again, it's not a loss. FA Cup win, beat Newcastle, again, not really to be expected. None of us went into that game expecting to win. Brentford, draw. Leeds, win. Obviously lost in the Carabao Cup final, and then drew to Man City for the second time this season. So this record in the Premier League, it is starting to actually take form into that of a... I was saying about the unbeaten run being quite... It's a little bit hit and miss, but when you really look at some of the wins we've got in this current run where they're going on, the draw to Man City for the second time of the season, the win against Newcastle, the win against Manchester United, it's a good run. And hey, we've got a bit of a sticky run coming up with Man City, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Tottenham, West. Like it's a really tough time, and no better time realistically than now to be putting in results like this on a regular basis, getting some momentum. And again, Pochettino coming out stating that this is never going to happen again. We're not going to see any of this childish activity, and if they do, who knows what might happen. Also, again, in the press conference after the game, that it's only just come out a couple of hours ago, but there was a bit of a back and forth between him and a reporter that was saying that Pochettino saying you guys, all of you you've just asked one question the whole time, and then I can't remember what his name is, but you can very much tell who it is that's speaking. One of the reporters from Sky Sports, and maybe a few other places as well, but saying like, this is a press conference. What do you want us to do? Not ask questions. This is this kind of expletive, and this is that and everything. It's just, he dealt with it well. He's backing the team. He's backing the squad. He's showing something other than having a go at us. I know we have a go at him all the time, but again, it's nice to see that he's backing the team and backing his boys kind of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? And then conversely, again, moving on to number 3, maturity levels are low. They really are low, and it's not for the first time. We've already discussed this, and again, I've seen plenty of people talk about it and also say, I don't want to go on to this too much, but it's becoming an issue, and Pochettino has hinted at it. Not really hinted at it. He's been drumming on, beating on the drum of the youth aspect in a different way. Like, there is immaturity, but it's maturity in the sense of the knowledge of the game is what he's trying to say. With regards to the immaturity we talk about, not wanting to be substituted, stupid yellow cards, fighting over who's getting to be able to take the penalty. It's all these sorts of things that cause the issues and maybe lead to the 2-2 against Sheffield United, the draw against Burnley and so on, where we could have been on a really good run of wins. The immaturity or the lack thereof maturity is really telling. It is telling. Gallagher, on the other hand, obviously one of the more experienced, he's like technically one of the more mature in terms of age. I think, is he 24? Showed leadership. He really did. He just went straight over there eventually. But he went over, snatched the ball off of Madueke and said, no, Palmer's taking this. And for, again, Pochettino to come out afterwards and establish that Palmer is officially the taker of penalties for Chelsea Football Club. It's nice to see. It should have happened a long time ago. It's one of those things, again, where Pochettino's saying this, that, and everything else about the fans not backing him and all this, and but not really addressing injuries, but kind of addressing injuries. But only recently, in the last week or so, he said that we are trying to establish a way to stop these injuries or figure out what the issues are and all this. So it seems like he's trying, whereas now he's actually doing. That's what I'm seeing. He's being proactive. He's actually doing something for a change, rather than saying we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. Instead, it's very few and far between that we're actually seeing action take place in front of us. Whereas now we have physical evidence. We have physical evidence of Pochettino saying this is a matter of fact. This is the case. Palmer is the penalty taker. Madueke is never going to ask to take a penalty again. Jackson can piss off as well, because I don't know why he was so annoyed. He was annoyed at Madueke first, and then Palmer took the ball and he started having a go at him. Backing Madueke, I just couldn't understand it. Really bizarre. But those are the first three. We move on to number 4 now, and that is Europe is really a possibility now. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I'm still not getting ahead of myself, but we are now officially 3 points away. And albeit, again, I've just said the fixtures, and I'll continue to say them, but again, Arsenal coming up next. I don't know necessarily if that is our game in hand. I'm fairly sure it is. I'm almost certain it is, because I don't think there are any Premier League games now. Oh, no, I could tell a lie. I think I am telling a lie. Arsenal are playing there. Manchester United aren't playing. I don't know. We're playing on Tuesday. They're playing on Wednesday. So the issue is, we'll go level on points with them should we win against Arsenal at the Emirates, which is wholly unlikely. But with the record that we're on at the moment, who knows? Who knows? It's one thing after another when it comes to Chelsea, but there's one thing that never changes, and that is we are so unpredictable, but we always end up doing something crazy. And so for us to end up getting European football against all odds, it would be a real sort of, I don't want to dramatize it too much, or overreact and say like it's a dream or whatever. But it really is. A couple of months ago, we thought the worst. We thought relegation was a possibility, and now the fact that Europa League, and I know it's Europa League, but I'll take it at this point. Winning the Europa League, we've been in it twice, we've won it twice. It might be a way for us to get through to the Champions League at the end of next season. Who knows? But Manchester United will be playing on Wednesday against Sheffield United. So if we win against Arsenal, we will go level. If we lose and Man United beat Sheffield United, then obviously the dream is over, more or less, at least until Newcastle balls up or something or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But Europe is now officially a possibility. It really, really is. And now I move on to the final point. Is that it's a bit of a mixture, but it's that no one could predict that this would happen. No one could have predicted 6-0. I predicted 1-1. I think I saw a few other people predicting that we were going to lose. Some other people predicting that we would get a 3-2 or it'd be tight. It'd be really tight. Everyone assumed we were going to concede. We got a clean sheet. We couldn't have asked for a better result before the size of game slash run of games that we have ahead of us in the coming weeks slash month. Huge. Obviously, with the unbeaten run that we have at the moment, it is something special that we can work on and try and pride ourselves on. And again, the Premier League, if we lose on Saturday, the Premier League run is still on. But at the same time, we could take that into Arsenal. 6-0 in the Premier League to then play Arsenal in the Premier League. But again, going into Saturday against Manchester City, a side that we have drawn against twice. What was it? 1-1 in the most recent fixture, 4-4 in the first fixture. It's been an absolutely mental run of games against Manchester City. So it makes sense that we have a game against them where everything is at stake. Everything is at stake. Arguably, the season is on the line in this game. Again, I don't think anyone really predicts that we're going to win. But at the same time, what a momentum that would be. What momentum that would be leading into the Arsenal game and then the Tottenham and the Aston Villa and so on and so forth. But that's my final point for this video. We couldn't have asked for a better result to go into our game on Saturday and into this run. But that is the first of hopefully a good run of episodes of I should have started this earlier in the season. I really should have, but I couldn't be asked, to be honest with you. But I've got motivation now that I've moved house, now that I'm settled, now that I've got everything sorted. Hopefully I can bring this Poch under the microscope again. Please do check that video out. It really is quite good, I think. So that'll be every Monday. We'll be doing 5 things we learned after every single game, hopefully. And then a few other bits here and there. But until next time, up the Chelsea. I might not end up doing this after the City game if we get absolutely battered, but who knows? My name is Harry, up the Chelsea. Please do like, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. With that said, up the Chelsea. And peace.